So evangelization was and is now primarily the responsibility of the laity. This is confirmed in Vatican Council II in its decree on the apostolate of the laity. The laity exercise the apostolate, in fact, by their activity directed to the evangelization and sanctification of men, and to the penetrating and perfecting of the temporal order through the spirit of the gospel. Their temporal activity openly bears witness to Christ and promotes the salvation of men. Since the laity, in accordance with their state of life, live in the midst of the world and its concerns, they are called by God to exercise their apostolate in the world like leaven, with the ardor of the Spirit of Christ. So this is a marvelous complement to what was previously only a negative definition of the laity. Previous to Vatican II, the laity were defined as those who were not priests or religious. Vatican II complemented that definition with a positive one. The laity are those whose mission field is the world and have the privilege and responsibility of bringing the gospel into the world and bearing witness to Christ in their words and deeds. We see this in Paul's letter to the Ephesians, where he describes how the church is built up. Ephesians 4:11 and 12. First, he mentions gifts of leadership. He says, Christ's gifts were that some should be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers. And then notice what he says the function of leaders is: to equip the saints for the work of ministry, for the building up of the body of Christ, until we all attain to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God. So the function of leaders in the church is not to do all the ministry, but to equip the saints, all the faithful, to do ministry. In other words, the role of leaders is to release and direct the church-building power that is latent in all Christians by baptism. The verb he uses, to equip, he uses a noun, equipping, can have the sense of mobilization, equipping an army. Leaders are to equip the laity to build up the body of Christ. It is built up both by gaining new members through procreation and education of children and evangelizing people who are not in the church, and it is built up by the growth in holiness of the members that are already there. This is what lay people are to do as they are equipped and mobilized by those who have leadership roles in the church. Taking these New Testament texts seriously entails a radically new vision. The parish is not the place where the lay people merely come to receive sanctifying grace through the sacraments, although certainly it is that. It is that. But it is also the boot camp where the laity are equipped, mobilized, encouraged, and sent forth on their mission, which is to bring the gospel into the world. And that leads to a surprising conclusion. The goal of a pastor of a parish should not be to get all the parishioners involved in parish ministries, although many priests I know see that as their goal. A 100% successful parish would be one where 100% of the parishioners are active in parish ministries. That's not the New Testament vision of the church. Certainly, parishes need a large number of lay people to be involved in its internal ministries, to be lectoring and to be catechists and to be extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion and to operate the pro-life society and the St. Vincent de Paul Society, etc. But the goal should be to get a far greater number of parishioners equipped for their primary mission, which is to be evangelists in the world. That might include, for example, training parishioners, as Pope Francis has strongly advocated, training them in how to bear witness to Christ, how to actually proclaim the gospel in ways that people can hear it and accept it, how to give their own personal testimony, how to discover and use their own charisms, how to evangelize online, how to evangelize in the corporate world, how to evangelize in educational settings, etc. Of course, not all are called to be full-time evangelists, but all are called to go out of the sheepfold and actively seek the lost, the broken, the confused, the strayed, the doubting, the hurting, the wondering, the questioning. And the paradox is, when the focus turns outward, then the 99 grow exponentially in their faith and their commitment to Christ. By turning inside out, the church becomes who she truly is. Thank you.